One cold December night in 2009, a man bought an old RV in Texas. He thought it was just full of junk, maybe some old papers, photo albums, or forgotten memories. But as he rifled through the boxes, he stumbled on a stack of weathered notebooks. Curiosity got the better of him, and he opened one. At first, it looked like random scribblings about demons, monsters, and dark rituals. But then he realized it was a confession, a chilling account that would make his heart race. This story begins decades earlier, with a woman named Susan Woods, whose life was taken in a way that shook a small town to its core. Welcome to Mystery Spectrum. It was the night of July 24, 1987. Susan Woods, a 30-year-old woman, stood at the entrance of the local fair in Hico, Texas, with her best friend, Cindy Hallmark, and Cindy's boyfriend, Roy Hayes. The fair was alive with laughter, the screams from the rides echoing through the warm summer air. But for Susan and her friends, the night felt different. Cindy confessed she had a feeling of unease, an anxiety she just couldn't shake. The three of them debated whether to stay or leave. Ultimately, Roy suggested they head back to Stephenville and stop at the Dairy Queen for some ice cream. Susan agreed, hoping for a brief escape from the shadows that had been clouding her life. She had recently endured a string of misfortunes. Her ex-husband, Michael Woods, had abandoned her, taking her car and her prized crystal figurines. He'd even left behind cruel notes and a bitter recording filled with insults. Alone and grieving, Susan worked long hours at the sandpaper factory to rebuild her life. Cindy and Roy became her support system, inviting her into their close-knit circle of friends, a group they called the Round Table. Slowly, she began to feel safe, finding solace in their companionship. That night at the Dairy Queen, Susan laughed freely for the first time in months. She even indulged in 2 hot fudge sundaes, a small rebellion against the fear and depression that had haunted her. For a fleeting moment, life seemed normal, but that peace wouldn't last. By Sunday evening, Susan's day had been consumed by chores and work, leaving her house clean and orderly. Her windows were nailed shut, her doors locked. She had done everything she could to feel secure. Then, a knock at the door shattered the fragile calm. 2 days later, her father, Joe Atkins, received a call from Susan's manager. She hadn't shown up for work, and no one could reach her. Alarmed, Joe drove to her house. The door was unlocked, and inside, everything seemed ordinary except for an ashtray filled with cigarette butts, despite Susan never smoking. The bedroom told a different story. The sheets were ripped from the bed, the mattress dragged, and the bathroom door stood open. Inside the tub lay Susan's body, partially submerged in water. She had been brutally attacked, sexually assaulted, strangled, and held underwater. The killer, however, had left behind a single, crucial clue: palm prints on the bathtub. Sergeant Donnie Hensley arrived at the scene. He noted the lack of forced entry, which suggested Susan knew her killer. Early suspicions focused on 3 men: Michael Woods, her ex-husband, J.C. Bowman, a brief boyfriend, and Roy Hayes, Cindy's boyfriend. Fingerprints were collected from all 3, but none matched the prints on the bathtub. The case went cold, leaving Susan's family desperate for answers. Nearly 19 years later, in 2006, Lieutenant Don Miller reopened the case. Advances in technology had created a national database of fingerprints, meaning prints that had once been useless could now potentially identify a suspect. Miller submitted the unmatched prints from Susan's bathtub and waited for a match. Days later, the FBI called with a name: Scott Hatley, the younger cousin of Cindy Hallmark, a member of the Round Table. He had been close to Susan and was present at the gatherings meant to support her. A single smile from Susan, seemingly innocent, had triggered a darkness within him that culminated in her murder. Scott Hatley was arrested in June 2006. He pleaded guilty, receiving a 30-year sentence, but served only 11 years due to good behavior. 3 years after his release, he died of cancer in his RV. Inside, investigators found the diary, filled with confessions about Susan's murder, as well as references to demons and Satan. Hatley blamed some outside force for compelling him to commit the crime, though the true horror lay in the fact that a person she knew and trusted could carry out such violence. Susan's story is a chilling reminder of how darkness can lurk behind familiar faces, The diary revealed the psychology of obsession and entitlement, showing that even those who appear supportive and kind can hide destructive impulses. The case also underscores how technology and persistence can bring justice, even decades later. If this story sent chills down your spine, hit that like button or let it be a splash of mystery. Subscribe to Mystery Spectrum and turn on notifications to uncover more dark, twisted, and unbelievable true crime stories. Sometimes, the past refuses to stay buried. A single fingerprint, a diary page, or a forgotten detail can unravel decades of secrets. And sometimes, the monsters we fear aren't in the shadows, they are the people we trust most, smiling in our living rooms.